Hi, I'm Anna. I'm a midwife from Switzerland. When I was a midwife student, I learned a lot about getting the mom in upright positions and also about mobilization techniques, and I learned how important it is that it's proven in studies to do so. And when I went to the different hospitals, I saw that most of the women are laying in the bed, trying to pass the time, and the midwives are too stressed to really actively move them. And so this was always confusing to me. And I also noticed the further I got in the education, that I had less time because I had to take care of a lot of women at the same time. And then when I was a young student, I had a situation that a woman tried to give birth at home, and she was fully dilated for many hours, and so she came to us in the hospital. I prepared the room for epidural and also for a cesarean just in case we need it. And when she arrived, we put her next to the bed and we put her on the birthing bed, and then we checked again, where's the baby? And to my surprise, it was almost born. And then my very experienced midwife colleague, she was laughing and she said, Anna, it's no wonder if the woman is put in so many different positions inside the ambulance and the ambulance is shaking over the street that the baby is coming out if you move her that much. And this little sentence stuck to me during my whole education, and already then I was thinking, how can we get these really important movements that the ambulance did for us, how can we get it into the birthing center or in the hospital? A few months, years later, I came up with the Vibwife moving mattress that is really mimicking the mobilization techniques that we use on the woman, or we do with the woman. We already did a study where we had 50 women who used it during birth, and 90% of them would like to use it again at the next birth. So they had a really high satisfaction. And also we have first hospitals who use it in the daily life. So already a few hundred women gave birth with Vibwife, and they really like it, and also especially the husband or the partner likes it, that he has finally something in the hand, where of course with the feedback of the woman he can help and support the birth. The mattress, we also got feedback, it's very intuitive. Nevertheless, we want to do a training video to give you a little bit more background about the usage and what is behind it. So we divide it in really small bites, so whenever you start with it and you have to go back to work, it's no problem, you can go back later. And I'm also still learning, and I'm really grateful for all the midwives who taught me so many things in the past and also pointed out if something was not great yet. So if you have feedback about the video or the moving mattress, or if you also have new ideas about positioning, about birthing beds, I am now in a really lovely place with a big company who can also fulfill my dreams for tools I need as a midwife. So if you also have great ideas, please contact me, and we can see if we can work together and bring these tools worldwide and scale it up. So we decided to build a mattress and not a birthing bed, that it is able to go in different beds and that you don't have to buy a new birthing bed. And basically you can do all the position, all the functions on the bed that you could do before. And just what is new in the seat section part, there is underneath some mobilization device that can actively be turned on with this remote control. So you can be on the hands and knees position, you can be on the side, you can semi-sit, so you can do whatever you need. And then per position, we added two movements, two main movements, which is also safe for the woman to use. So whenever you feel like the woman can move herself, or you would actively move her, for example with a rebozo towel, you can add these movements. So in my studies and also in a lot of workshops, I learned about a lot of manual techniques to help mobilize the pelvis of the woman. I, for example, learned about this rebozo towel that you can use in many different positions, in many different ways. And for example, we learned to rock the pelvis when she's laying down. So I asked the partner now to help me do this, to show it. So this just rocks the pelvis right to left. Probably a lot of you know this one. I noticed in some parts of the world it's very spread, in some you don't know it so much. So this is a great way to do it. But of course it needs time, we need to be there for her, and I usually do it like 30 minutes. So we always need a second person. With Vibwife, in the semi-sitting position she's now, there's 2 movements. So the one we just did is the one on this side. I will hand it to her. And she can adjust the speed and the range however she likes it. So also with the Vibwife, it is moving the pelvis in the same way. And the woman is empowered to do her own movements as strong as she wants it. So she now chose the biggest speed and range. You can also do it like a very small movement, I will show you. This is a very slow and very small, fast movement. And I can also do it very slowly. So you hardly see something from outside, but she feels. The next movement in this position, it is like, it comes from when you walk up the stairs. So it's always one knee is lifted, so there's asymmetry in the pelvis and also this twist. And this one is one we wanted to include. And we can also do it when she's sitting down. So always one sit bone is higher than the other. It adds asymmetry and it has this nice motion. So I show you on here. So the difference is before it was only going up and down, now it's also going to the side. And a lot of women give feedback that they like when they have the lower back pain, that it releases the pain in all the positions. So these are the 2 main movements. Down here there's a little bit more special things for the midwives. So this one is just like a pelvic tilt that shifts the weight of the pelvic a little bit to the side. For me personally, it helped me a few times before when I want to check the dilation from the mother, and the baby kept reacting in this position. When I shifted the weight a little bit to the side, the baby didn't react as much. Or when I transported her on the way, I tilted it, so the weight is a little bit shifted. And then the last one is down here. It's also a little bit a special movement. It's just like these very small vibrations to relax the muscles she cannot control. If you do it the speed very up, it is very like a gentle vibration. And you can also do it stronger, and a lot of midwife requested it to be quite strong, so we can do both. So this is for this position. So when I had the woman in semi-sitting positions, for example after the epidural, when she needs to stay in this position, I usually put like a nursing or positioning pillow like this so she can relax her legs. And I always did it quite symmetrical because I like things to be symmetrical in my life. And Ulrike Harder, she gave me really nice tips how to also even improve like this still position like this. You can also do it while Vibwife to just increase one leg and just to open this side of the pelvis. So the baby has always room, the side that is open, to turn, rotate into this. So you can do it, for example, like this. Then you can open this leg, make this one straight. Or on this bed, you can also, for example, tilt this a little bit. So she's always like, there's always something going on in the pelvis. It's not just stiff and in one direction. So I learned that it's very important to put the woman in upright birth positions like the hands and knees position. And when I came to the hospitals, I often saw it like this with like a nursing pillow on top. And I also did it a few times, and I got kind of frustrated because the woman didn't like this position. After 2 or 3 contractions, they wanted to change because their knees got tired, and I just did all this work with all the cables to turn her, and then they wouldn't like it, so I was less and less motivated to do so. And when I started to work with Ulrike Harder, she's a really experienced and really wonderful midwife from Germany. She dedicated a lot to this topic. She taught me some things, how to make it much more comfortable for the woman, so she really likes to stay there for a long time. And before we do that, I would like to show you anyways how it's moving in this position, so you can see the difference. So I hand this over to the partner that he can adjust it for her, and of course he has to get her feedback if she likes it or if she wants to have it stronger or less. Now he can slowly increase the speed and the range, of course in her consent. And you can see it starts to move, but it looks very stiff and it looks like a workout in the gym, which is not really beneficial during the labor, which is a workout by itself. So there is some movements, but there's a lot of pressure. All her weight is on these small little spots of the knees. And now I would like to show you 2 or 3 tips from Ulrika Harder how to make a really comfortable hands and knees position that the woman really likes to stay and is really mobile in her hips. So now we have the good settings for optimized hands and knee position. The bed is completely flat. She has a little chair or something where she can sit back and relax the knees. She has a beanbag or a ball. Often I see that the women are going in like this, also by the ball, that they are with just the elbows or the lower hand. And then I ask them to really hug the ball and really put the weight on the surface. So when she really can put the weight down on this part, the knees have much less pressure and she's much more mobile in the hips. So there's a term in physical therapy called punctum fixum and punctum mobile. So when she can really drop her weight, then she's much more mobile. And also I place the husband at the end of the bed because in this position he has the remote control, but she is still the boss. So they have to be in contact that he can do what she wants. So when she's on her knees and I want to add some mobilization techniques to get her a little bit mobile, I usually take a rebozo towel that I wrap around her thighs and then I can jiggle it. Or I can also use a nightgown if it's not available. Or I can just hold her here and move the pelvis as I need. Some women don't like to be touched and sometimes I really would like to do it, but I don't have time. And so there's just the option that we do it with the moving mattress. And I will now ask the husband, because her hands are not free to do the settings, and make sure also that he's really looking what she wants to do and not doing his own program. So we start with again with this pelvic tilt. Just gently the rocking of the pelvis. So you can see when she can really relax her weight here, the pelvis is much more mobile to move and it can follow the movements much more natural and easy. And the next movement is the lying 8 function you can set for us. And this is really like when she's walking the stairs, it's like the same thing that happens in the pelvis, that always one knee is in the air, is getting higher. So really this movement that's happening when you walk upstairs or down, it's the same that happens here. And the woman, a lot of them like it when the weight of the uterus can go down and really relax this part. And together with the movement to stretch and pull these ligaments, they really like it every now and then to get some relaxation. You can really see how like the turning point is around here, and the movement she can really just follow and let go. So whenever she needs a break, he can stop the movements, and then she can also sit back and relax her knees in between, and we also have again this movement back and forth of the pelvis. The next thing is like the pelvic tilt. Usually I did it with a folded towel that I just stuck under one knee, and then after a while I put it to the other one. I had to get it out. And so the same thing is when you do the pelvic tilt. So this is now to her right side, or you can do the same to the left side. Just add to a tiny bit of asymmetric positions to the pelvis. And then the last one is again this vibration that we can add. So it goes stronger and stronger. And here it's really, in this position, it really, the pelvis moves much more than if she's like straight with the tilted back. And try out the difference, how you feel it yourself. So now you can do it very small movements, so they put down the range, that we really get into this vibration. And a lot of women also really like this because it distracts them from the pain, and it really relaxes the involuntary muscles. So this one is really comfortable for a lot of women, and we didn't really expect this. So yeah, it's used quite a lot. Sometimes if the woman has an epidural for a long time, it is really hard to turn her in the bed. So also with the pelvic tilt, I can use it a little bit to help me do the movement. So when I want to turn her to my side, I use the button with the R for the right side, because the remote control is looking at the side of the woman. So while it's shifting, I can move her. So it's much less force for me to pull her because the weight is already shifted. When I want to turn her back, I push the button with the L on it for the left side. Now it's back again in the center. And then I can push it again to help her turn on the other side. When I had the woman on the right side, I had often the backrest a little bit elevated because I was talking a lot to her and I wanted her to be a little bit on the eye level. And what we now found out with also sensor mats, that there's a lot of pressure on the hips if this is just slightly tilted. So if I put this all the way down, she's much more comfortable when she's in the bed for a longer period of time. And also a nice side effect is that she's not always sliding down in the bed. So before, often when I entered the room, I saw her again down here, so I had to drag her up, and this is now not anymore. Now the pelvic seat is still a little bit tilted from the turning. So I will show you the Sims position, or like extreme side position, almost in the stomach. So when I used the positioning pillows in the side, I saw it and learned it like this to just create some space between the legs. And I learned now in workshops that it's really valuable, like Ulrike Harder is teaching this from Berlin, she's a very experienced midwife, to really always make sure you also support the foot, that it's not hanging in the air, because this will create some tension in the pelvis and it's counterproductive. So always make sure, you can sometimes even lift it higher for some situations. And now she's almost in the Sims position. I will help it a little bit more. So when she's almost on her stomach, and if this tilt is happening, it's a little bit more strong, so a little bit more effective. And you can add here, when she shifted, you can add this side shifting left to the right movement. In the beginning, usually it needs a little bit of time for the woman to adjust to this movement and to really fully relax her pelvis. So you can just adjust the speed and range. So this lower part of the pelvis is shifted back to the front. In the beginning, they are quite tense, and with the while, when she's really comfortable, it adds a little bit more movement. You can also support it a little bit. Before I did it like I was just jiggling the pelvis, but this can just give a little bit more continuous movement. So in the normal side position now, I will tilt her back, that it's to the center. And also here you can do this back and forth movement that it shifts the angle of the pelvis. And you can add here also the vibration. It also starts very slow and gentle. If I increase the range, it is slower because it needs more time to be at the final switch. And then when you increase the speed, it gets stronger and stronger. And now when I go back in the range, it goes really in these gentle, nice vibrations to really fully relax the involuntary muscles of her pelvis. So please try yourself to test it out how it feels. Thank you very much for watching the video until the end. I hope it was fun to be moved a little bit and you discovered some fun things. I also recommend to use the demo button when you introduce it to the woman, so she can feel all the different movements and see what the options are. And also we made experience that it's the same as when you put the woman in a bathtub or you try anything else on her. At the beginning she's always like, oh, what's this? It's new, I don't want it. I just want to be in the bed left alone. But if you say her, please do it for 3 contractions and then decide if you like it or not, most of the women, you can't really get her off of it anymore. So it's good to tell this before that it's normal. And if you have any feedback concerning the training video or the moving mattress, if you get also some nice experience from the woman, please contact me. Or if you have any cool invention that you never knew how to implement it, about anything about birthing beds or positioning, I'm also happy and be there for you. And thank you again for watching, and I hope you have a lot of wonderful experience and fun with the moving mattress.